Hi, this is a Honda CBR 1000RR and I had some trouble with the charging system, so I'll just take you through the steps that I took to fix it. So basically I come home from a long ride and I switched it off, and after about a minute I tried to start it up again and it had trouble starting. So the first thing I did was go and check the voltage going to the battery. So I started the bike up. I used a voltmeter. It was reading about 11.9, which is a little bit low. So that indicated that it wasn't charging the battery, so that, there was a problem there. So next step I took was to take the left side fairings off, and the first test I did was on the regulator rectifier, which is this unit here. And there's two switches here, or two wires coming out of it. This one here goes to the battery, and this one goes to the stator, comes from the stator. So to test this was the first thing I did, was you get your voltmeter. Most important thing to get a correct reading is make sure you set it on the correct selection when you're testing these things. So this one needs to be set up on the diode. With a lot of these voltmeters now, a lot of the selections have multiple functions, so you've got to make sure you're on the right one. So you've got to, on this one for example, you've got to hit the mode button to get into that diode symbol, and once you're in the diode symbol, then that's where you can take the readings. If you leave them auto or something like that, you'll probably get wrong readings. So just be conscious to get the right reading, otherwise you're not going to get proper readings when you try to test them. Okay, so to test the regulator rectifier, so what we do is there's two outputs here, and which go to the battery, and there's three outputs that come from the stator. So we'll just pick one. We'll just click onto one there, and click onto that there, and we'll run a test. So we'll just touch either one of the connections. So in the first connection, that actually reads, I'm not sure if you can see the voltmeter, but it actually reads 0. There's nothing there. Second one reads 0. Third one reads 0, or nothing. There's nothing there at all, so it's not moving at all, which is what we need. So move that to the next one, down the bottom there. Test it again. Okay, so we're getting now a reading of 0.427. Test the second one, 0.434. And the third one is 0.431. So we're just looking for consistency here, so that they're all pretty similar. Then you've got to swap them around, so we'll stick this to the negative terminal there. So we'll just run the check. This should read all 0 now, so I'll just test it. There's no movement there. That's reading nothing. That's reading nothing. That's reading nothing. So that's correct. So if we move it now to the other port through there, that's the other extension. This should give me readings now, 3 readings which are similar. So test that. 4.31, which is correct. So 0.40, that's fine. And 0.433. So they're all similar. So 0.431. So that's that one. So that tells me that this is working correct. So, and there's no problem with this with the regulator rectifier. So moving forward, the next test was on the stator that I did. Now the stator's I've already moved it out, but the test to do to this while it's on there, and if I just stick it on there like that, assuming it's on the bike with the cover on there. The test to do to this, now this one's got to be on the ohm setting, so we've got to make sure again we're selecting the correct setting. So I'm on ohms now, so this is what we want to look at. So on the ohms, Um, there's three outputs that go to the regulator rectifier, and we'll call them A, B, and C. And what you do is just stick one terminal there and the other one there, and you should get a reading. If I just get that. Okay, it's giving me a reading of about 0.3, 0.4, which is fine. So that's A to B. Then we can move it. Then we do A to C, for example. So that should give us a similar reading. So it's moving up now, so it's about 0.3, 0.4, so it's around there, 0.2 at the moment. So that's, we did A to B, A to C, and then we just got to do B to C. So B to C, again, it's giving us a reading of about 0.3 at the moment. So that's right. That's fine. That's working fine on this end. Okay. So the test it failed was the ground test. Yeah. So all you do is just put in one of the terminals there, then just ground it out back to the stator, and you can see I'm getting a reading. So that means there's a short to ground. There's about 0.7, 0.6. So I'm getting a reading. This should actually read 0. Yes, I'm getting a reading on the second terminal. I'm getting a reading, put in the last one. It's getting a reading there as well. Before I had the cover off, before I had everything, I did this test, and it failed the test because it showed me there was a reading which suggested there was a short. And what I usually use is just the battery, because obviously this is not exposed when you've got the cover on, so you just take one of the terminals and put the other one just to the battery, or the negative terminal to the battery, and that'll give you the earth, and that gave me the reading, so that suggested there was a problem. So then we did the visual inspection. Once we pulled the cover off, you can see it's not easy to get these things out because they're magnetic, so we'll have to. So I went and actually got a second-hand one. I didn't get a new one. Was about $380, and actually found a good one at a wrecking yard. So I've replaced it with a second-hand one, which looks pretty good. And you can see the difference between what a burnt one looks like and what a good second-hand one would look like. So there's a big difference in the colour. The only thing I will suggest is that these don't have a gasket. They're actually just sealed by a gasket maker or Celastic. The most obvious thing to do is to get a screwdriver and try to leverage it out with a screwdriver. And what will happen is you'll damage the lip, and then you might get oil leak. So the thing is, you don't want to get a screwdriver to try to pry it out. That's a no-no. So if it's leveraged, you'll see little lips on the case, and you just try to leverage it out by using those lips and just finding something to lever it out with, as opposed to sort of getting a screwdriver and going straight into the lip, because you'll damage the face of it there, and it can leak. So next thing now is to put it all together, and once I've put it all together, we can just test the voltage at the battery and trust that it'll be good and problem solved. Okay, so I've put everything back together now, so we'll just check to see how much voltage we're getting at the battery. So we should be getting somewhere around 14. So the first thing, that's when it's at idle. So the first thing we do is set the voltmeter to volts. Now make sure it's direct current, not alternating current. So again, you've got to have DC on there. So without starting the bike, the battery, I have charged the battery. It's giving me about 12.67. Once I start it, it should give me more. So on starting it, there's about 13.75. So Yeah, about 13.8, 13.9, which is good. Good charging system. That's perfect. So problem solved. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, which you'll find useful, is that this is a 2005 model, and the stator that I put on, the second-hand one, came out of a 2007 Honda CBR 1000RR. So it's interchangeable. So if you're stuck, you can't find a 05, a good 05 second-hand one, the 07 stator also fits. So there you go.